wonderful to be here. I consider it an honor to be able to present this award. But I have to tell you right off the bat that I had to eat my words today. So many times at what was the MACA conference, people would complain about being cold, and I would say, well, don't you know you need to wear a jacket or a sweater or bring one with you? And when we walked in the door today, I went, oh, Elaine, you didn't bring a jacket or a sweater. Seriously, I do appreciate the opportunity to do this and to present this award because I think it's very important. And it's a part of our history, the history of MACA and the history of Missouri Community Action Network. For many of you, you may not know who Charles Braithwait was. And I always worried about when we talk about giving this award, people will say, well, why is this important? Who was this man? Well, Charles Braithwait laid the groundwork for many of the things that we have done throughout our network for many years. He started working in community action at the very, very beginning in 1965. And what we've learned recently about Charles was that he was a caring individual from the time he was a young man in high school and was always doing things for other people at that time in his life, and it continued. And this award is given to someone who exemplifies the characteristics of Charles, who was so dedicated and had so much energy. If you worked with him, you were very lucky. And if you worked with him at the agency or if you worked with him on the state or national level, Charles was always fighting for what was right for people. And he was smart. He was a very smart man. He knew how to balance what he was doing in community action, whether it was at home, whether it was at West Central, or whether it was at the state level or the national level. He was a real family man. He was a farmer, too. But he was very active in helping to form the national organizations and to protect community action in so many situations. So we're very fortunate that we had him as one of our founding fathers. And so it's a real honor today to be able to present the Charles Braithwait Award to another courageous person in our network, Bill Bunch. Now, I imagine many of you know Bill Bunch. He's been working in community action for a long time, and he's worked in different positions. He started in community action in 1978, is that right, Bill? And later he became the executive director of the agency. Bill has been very involved at the state level and his local level. He's always been committed, deeply committed to working on poverty issues. Whether it was developing housing, it was working with education of young children, was keeping the lights on or keeping the heat on in homes, and also in some very interesting business ventures. Bill has been very committed to community action and the elimination of poverty. He took the mandate of President Johnson's mandate of ending poverty. Bill took that, has always taken that very seriously. He thought it was important for, if it was one family at a time, he felt like it was very important to address the poverty issues at the local level as well as the state. And if you know Bill, you know he's a good listener. And that's one of the traits of a very good leader, is to be a good listener. I've watched him, I've observed him, listening to the directors discuss issues and really get some sometimes heated discussions. And Bill would sit back and he would just wait till the right moment. And then he would make his contribution of a wise recommendation. He has been also understood the importance of balance. I don't know what his family would say about this, but I'll say he understood the importance of balance, of having a good family life, as well as being involved in the community where he lived. And Bill had so many similarities to Charles Braithwait. And one of the things that Charles was always doing was raising money and addressing issues at the national level. And he could always, always depend on Bill to be supportive. Whether it was in raising money or whether it was going to visit with our national congressional members, or also the state members of the House of Representatives or the Senate. He could always depend on Bill to do that and to follow through. There are so many similarities between the two men that it is really an honor to present this award to Bill Bunch.
It's been a long road, but being compared to Charles Braithwaite, that just blows my mind. Back in December of 1978, when I was hired in at East Missouri Action Agency as a community service rep for Washington County, based in the city of Tulsa, having just graduated from the University of Missouri with a degree in, why is this so low? Having just graduated with a degree in political science from the University of Missouri at Columbia, you would have thought that I'd heard of community action, but I didn't. But over the next 37 and a half years, I got a great education. When I was hired, I went home and told my wife, gave her the good news, and then I went and told my mom and dad, and my mom said, I used to work there. I said, really? And she said, yeah, I worked there for 2 years. I was the Head Start bookkeeper. And I said, well, I don't remember that. And she said, well, you were a teenager. You don't remember much from that. And about 15 or 20 years later, I was combing through some of the historical documents of the agency and discovered that the very first agency in our area formed in 1965, my father was an original member of the board of directors. So I was kind of thinking at that point, maybe it was just destiny that I ended up in this thing called community action. Because I didn't go looking for a job. I was looking for a job in 1978 and latched on to one at East Missouri. And it was during my first 12 years of work at the agency, I worked directly with clients. I worked in the community services program. I worked in the housing program. And I was amazed. I thought when I grew up, there was, I experienced bad times and had some rough goes when my dad was on strike, or that I never could imagine the situations that I encountered. And there were times when I said, I think maybe I want to do something else. But I'd get notes from family members saying, wow, what you did for me was above and beyond. And I remembered one in particular. I just considered I was doing my job. I helped a young lady, single mom, relocate from Perryville, Missouri, where there was not many jobs, up to Farmington. She soon latched on to a full-time job, which she dropped off the housing program, and I was very happy for her. But I got a letter in the mail said I had changed her life. Right then, at that moment, I knew that this was where I needed to be. So I kept working at the agency and applied for the community services director job and did that for about almost 10 years. And in 1999, I applied for the executive director's job and got that position. And for about the first 6 months, I said, what did you do? I thought I had stress before. But at any rate, many of you know in the room that I'm retiring at the end of July after 37 and a half years at the agency. And I couldn't begin to thank everyone, many of you in this room that have helped me develop professionally. As I said, this is still a learning process 37 and a half years later. You learn something new almost every day. And people used to say, well, I think I've seen everything now. Oh no. We do not have our offices in the floodplain. However, we've been flooded 3 times in the last 4 years. From, well, a couple because of rain, but the other 2 from plumbing issues, which happened on the weekend. But if anybody wants to know how to protect yourself against plumbing floods, I've got all the information. You know, back in 1978 when I took the job with the agency, I never dreamed that I would work in this line of work for 38 years, almost 38 years, and certainly never dreamed that I would be up for an honor such as the Charles Braithwait Leadership Award. Having known Charles personally and knowing what he meant to community action, his place in the history of community action, you know, helping to sue the President of the United States to keep community action alive, I consider it a most distinct honor to accept this award. So thank you very much for coming.
I want you to know what it says on the plaque. It says, Charles Braithwait Annual Community Action Leadership Award, William Bunch, East Missouri Action Agency, for exemplifying the standards of leadership, dedication, and energy demonstrated by this outstanding national leader. I'd like to recognize my family who put up with me when I wasn't in such a good mood. My wife Debbie, my son Eric, my daughter Lindsay, and my soon-to-be son-in-law Matt.